if you're 35 to 55, you have to use this weekend to learn about Bitcoin. I try not to be like the bombastic person that's like, you have no other option. Like, it's not that. It's not like that urgent, but you have to carve out some weekend time to get past the surface level, like, yeah, crypto's cool. It's like stocks, right? Like that doesn't work. Like, if that's where you're at, that's not good. Like, you need to get out of that. Because, and here's the reason why specifically when you're 35 to 55, because your decisions are compounding. You're earning enough money to like be comfortable, but you can feel the like Groundhog's Day-ness of like the bills and the kids and the inflation, like that's keeping a cap on it. So like, you're fine. And so there's no emergency. The house is not on fire. It's not that. Like, it's that there is a cap on it, and you can feel that the more you work, you aren't like getting ahead, right? And so why is Bitcoin different than every other, personal finance video you can click on YouTube, right? On the weekend? Because there is no public founder that can dilute the shares. That's why it's different than stocks. Bitcoin is different than stocks because there's no public founder that can issue more shares and dilute your value. Or they can have a bad quarter and the earnings can do whatever. Like, it's not that. Okay, why is it different than other commodities? It's different than other commodities because when the price measured in dollars starts to run, there's no people that can come online and just create more supply, pull it out of the ground, farm more of it, or whatever. Because Bitcoin has this thing called the difficulty adjustment. So when more miners come online, the difficulty of the Bitcoin like algorithm gets harder for the mining, okay? If you want to deep dive on mining, that's sweet. We can do that in a different video. Like, it's not the point for today. The point for today is to understand that that's why it's different than other commodities. Okay, why is it different than other currencies? It's different than other currencies. Well, first of all, again, if you're 35, 55, you're working your job, you invest in your 401k, whatever, like you decently financially literate, but you don't always think of currencies as having a price. Like, money has a price, the same way as water bottles have a price, the same way that stuff has prices. Currencies are no different. Money itself is no different. And so money, the US dollar, has a public founder. We have a public president. We have the public Federal Reserve that chooses the price of dollars and chooses the supply of dollars for the world, okay? Bitcoin doesn't have that. So the dollars, no matter how good you are at investing, you're still tied to that system. Like, it's effectively all the same trade now. Like stocks, real estate, commodity, like it all just rises and falls based on what those people choose to do with the dollars, okay? Bitcoin is the opposite of that. Bitcoin is the solution to that problem. That problem is what keeps all your investments bound in this range, and what means your work doesn't keep catching up with the price of things. Because all investments are just tied to that, okay? At least you have investments. And you're not just sitting, with your job in dollars. The other reason why I'm passionate about Bitcoin is because for people that just all they have is their job in dollars, like, start getting $1 of Bitcoin. Because it's the smallest thing you can do with the largest outsized impact if that's the situation you're in. But for people that are 35 to 55, W-2 job with a salary, just like you're okay. The reason why you feel like you can't get ahead is because of the way that the fiat money supply is being manipulated, and it's keeping all the investments kind of in a range up and down based on that. Okay, so there's no explosion, and then the price of things is increasing at the same time that the investments are increasing. Bitcoin is the only thing that kind of slices all the way through that. It's so good for you as an individual, and it's so good for society as a whole to get away from that, to diversify away from that kind of fiat money control of the world. And why does this take a weekend? It takes a weekend because everything I said was really deep. And depending on your predisposition to hearing new ideas, there's a lot of different reactions and a lot of different emotions you can feel when someone is saying all this new stuff, right? It's deep. You have to sit there and think with it. You have to sit there and wrestle with it of is this a problem? And is Bitcoin a solution to it? You have to really have an opinion about that. And if you do the research and find out that you don't think Bitcoin is the solution to that, great. At least you have an educated opinion then. But sitting here and just being like, yeah, I think Bitcoin is just like kind of like stocks, like that's not a great answer. That's not a great answer. And so don't stop being that person at work, at your job, at your school, or whatever that has that, and have the next level up from that, okay? I would bet money, I physically am betting money that you're gonna find out that it is a good solution to that. You're gonna find out that it does slice through a lot of the frustrations that you have with like feeling like you're on a treadmill and feeling like you can't catch up. And it does it in a way that's not like doomsday-ish. It honestly does it in a way that's filled, like I'm filled with a lot of optimism. I'm filled with a lot of optimism, and I feel like I can rest better now. My work, I know, can actually be stored in something that isn't so connected to the kind of the direction that the world is going on fiat money. Like, but I'm still like enough in it that I'm like doing something for the world and doing something for myself at the same time. And there's not really a lot of things that give that satisfaction of both. And so that's why you really need to carve out the time, watch some deep dives, really educate yourself on Bitcoin. And I think like it's gonna be a weekend well spent. It's gonna be a weekend well spent. So don't spend another weekend kind of just like deadening yourself or trying to get away from the hamster wheel. Really like carve out space, understand why Bitcoin cuts through all the problems with fiat money in the world, and understand why it could be so good for you.